The 1990s created some of the biggest stars in entertainment history. They had money, fame, luxury, and millions of fans. But behind the flashing cameras, many of those stars were quietly losing everything. Some lost their fortunes, some lost their careers, some lost their families, and some lost their minds. The saddest part? Many of them didn't fall because they were untalented. They fell because fame came too fast, and life hit harder than the spotlight. Today on Celebsphere, we are counting down 90 stars who lost everything. And trust me, some of these stories are painful. Stay until the end, because one of these celebrities went from being the face of America to dying with almost nothing. Let's begin. Number 1, MC Hammer, the fastest rise and fall. In the early 90s, MC Hammer was unstoppable. He wasn't just famous, he was a global brand. His hit song, You Can't Touch This, made him one of the biggest music stars in the world. Hammer reportedly earned over $30 million at his peak. But the problem was, he spent money like it would never end. Hammer lived like a king. He bought luxury cars, expensive jewelry, and even built a mansion so massive it looked like a palace. But here's the mistake that destroyed him. He hired over 200 people to work for him, including security, staff, and friends. His money was leaking every single day. And by 1996, MC Hammer filed for bankruptcy. The man who once ruled the world lost almost everything. His story became one of the biggest warnings in entertainment history. Fame can make you rich, but bad spending can make you broke faster than you ever imagined. Number 2, Toni Braxton, the voice that went broke twice. Toni Braxton was one of the most powerful voices of the 90s. Her songs were everywhere, millions of albums sold. Awards, tours, she looked like she was living the dream. But behind the scenes, Toni was losing control of her money. In the late 90s, she shocked the world when she filed for bankruptcy. Many people couldn't understand it. How could a superstar be broke? But Toni later revealed something important. She signed contracts early in her career that didn't favor her. Even though she was making hits, she wasn't receiving the money people assumed she was earning. And the saddest part, she didn't just go bankrupt once. She reportedly faced financial trouble again years later. Still, Toni survived. She kept performing, she rebuilt. She returned. Her story is proof that sometimes, it's not just about how much money you make, it's about what you keep. Number 3, Lindsay Lohan, Hollywood's lost princess. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Lindsay Lohan was Hollywood's golden child. Movies, commercials, magazine covers, she was the it girl. But fame came with a dangerous price. Lindsay's life became filled with chaos. Parties, bad influences, legal trouble. Her career slowly started falling apart, and the world watched it happen in real time. Instead of being known for acting, she became known for scandals. Soon, the big movie roles stopped coming, brands stopped trusting her, and one of the most famous young stars of her generation lost everything she worked for: her image, her reputation, and millions of dollars in opportunities. Lindsay later tried to rebuild her life, but her story remains one of the most tragic celebrity downfalls. Because she didn't lose talent, she lost control. Number 4, Wesley Snipes, from superstar to prison. Wesley Snipes was one of the coolest stars of the 90s. He was respected, he was powerful, and he was the face of action movies, especially after the success of Blade. But in the 2000s, everything changed. Wesley Snipes was charged with serious tax problems. The government claimed he failed to file tax returns for years. The situation became a major scandal. And eventually, Wesley Snipes was sentenced to prison. Imagine that. A man who once lived in Hollywood mansions was now living behind bars. His career stopped, his reputation collapsed, and his fortune took a major hit. Even though he later returned to acting, his story became a lesson. You can be famous, but you can't run from reality, not even in Hollywood. Number 5, Britney Spears, the queen who lost control. In the late 90s, Britney Spears wasn't just a singer. She was a global phenomenon. Everywhere you looked, Britney was there. Music videos, concerts, magazine covers, billboards. She became the princess of pop. But behind the fame, Britney was being pushed beyond human limits. Constant tours, constant pressure, constant judgment, and the world never gave her peace. Then came the breakdown. The paparazzi chased her like prey. Her private life became entertainment. And after a public collapse, Britney lost something most celebrities never lose: control of her own life. For years, Britney was placed under a conservatorship, meaning other people controlled her money, decisions, and career. Even though she was the one making the money, she couldn't control it. Britney's story isn't just a celebrity downfall. It's one of the darkest examples of how fame can become a prison. Number 6 to 50 Cent. Rich, famous, then bankrupt. In the early 2000s, 50 Cent dominated hip-hop, but his fame started building in the late 90s, and his rise became legendary. He made hit songs, built businesses, and created one of the most powerful brands in music. 50 Cent was worth millions. But later, he shocked the world when he filed for bankruptcy. People couldn't believe it. How does a man with that much success go broke? Reports claimed his financial issues were linked to lawsuits, spending, and business problems. But here's the twist. Unlike many celebrities, 50 Cent didn't stay down. He invested smart. He rebuilt his empire, and he became rich again. His story proves that bankruptcy doesn't always mean failure. Sometimes it's a restart. Number 7. Nicolas Cage, the man who bought castles. Nicolas Cage was a superstar in the 90s. He starred in massive films like Face Off and Con Air. He was one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. But then, he began spending money like a man who believed it would never stop. He bought castles. He bought rare exotic animals. He bought luxury mansions. He bought strange collector items. He was living like a real king. But eventually, his fortune began collapsing. He owed millions in debt and taxes. And suddenly, Nicolas Cage was forced to do movie after movie. Not because he wanted to, but because he had to pay off what he owed. His story is shocking because he didn't lose fame. He lost financial control. And that one mistake changed everything. Number 8. Gary Coleman, the saddest child star story. Gary Coleman was one of the biggest child stars in TV history. His show Diff'rent Strokes made him a household name. In the 80s and early 90s, he was famous everywhere. He was the cute kid everyone loved. But while people thought he was rich, his life behind the scenes was complicated. Reports say Gary faced financial exploitation, legal battles, and medical problems. As he grew older, his fame faded. The big roles stopped, and his money reportedly disappeared. By the end of his life, Gary Coleman was no longer living like a star. His story became one of the saddest warnings in Hollywood. Child fame can be dangerous, because when the spotlight leaves, life becomes very real. Gary Coleman died in 2010, and many fans still remember him as one of the most heartbreaking examples of a star who lost everything. So what's the real lesson behind all these 90s stars? It's simple. Fame doesn't protect you from bad decisions. Money doesn't protect you from bad management. And talent doesn't protect you from real-life problems. Some lost everything because of spending. Some because of contracts, some because of pressure. Some because of mistakes, but their stories remind us of something powerful. The spotlight is not real life. And sometimes, the biggest battles happen after the cameras turn off. Now tell me in the comments, which celebrity story shocked you the most? And which one do you think deserves a second chance? If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and follow Celebsphere. Because we don't just talk about fame, we reveal the truth behind it.